If you're not kicking off spooky season with a whole bunch of movies, you're doing it wrong. Halloween is October 31st. That means you have 31 days to watch as many scary, slasher-y, spooky, silly, fall-themed movies as possible before the season ends, and you have to put your costume away for good. However, not all Halloween movies are created equal. That's why we ranked the 50 greatest Halloween movies for you. Number 50. Fun size. Ren is a high school senior who can't wait to get away from her dysfunctional family. On Halloween, Ren's mother decides to go out with her much younger boyfriend, leaving Ren to look after little brother Albert. When Ren is distracted by an invitation to the party of the year, Albert disappears into a sea of trick-or-treaters. Enlisting the aid of her sassy friend, April, and two other classmates, Ren sets out on a frantic search for her sibling. Number 49. Double, Toil and Trouble. This 1993 Mary-Kate and Ashley Halloween movie is a must-see for any Olsen twins fan. After discovering a witchy secret, the identical duo must break a family curse with a magic spell. Determined twins, Mary-Kate Olsen, Ashley Olsen, try to trick an evil aunt, Cloris Leachman, out of a magic moonstone and save their family home. Number 48. Casper. Who knew Casper was such a hunk? This 1995 family flick starring Christina Ricci and Devon Sawa as a hottie from another realm gives us major childhood Halloween feels. Casper, voiced by Malachi Pearson, is a kind young ghost who peacefully haunts a mansion in Maine. When specialist James Harvey, Bill Pullman, arrives to communicate with Casper and his fellow spirits, he brings along his teenage daughter, Kat, Christina Ricci. Casper quickly falls in love with Kat, but their budding relationship is complicated not only by his transparent state but also by his troublemaking apparition uncles and their mischievous antics. Number 47. Boo! A Madea Halloween. Trying to win the approval of her friends, 17-year-old Tiffany sneaks out of the house to go to a Halloween bash at a fraternity. The fun soon ends when police and the cranky, fast-talking Madea, Tyler Perry, arrive to crash the party. Unhappy with this sudden turn of events, the vengeful collegians decide to scare Madea and her cronies with a series of pranks. She soon finds herself under attack and on the run from an assortment of ghosts, ghouls and zombies on the scariest night of the year. Number 46. Hotel Transylvania. When monsters want to get away from it all, they go to Count Dracula's, Adam Sandler, Hotel Transylvania, a lavish resort where they can be themselves without humans around to bother them. On one special weekend, Dracula invites creatures like the Invisible Man, the Mummy and others to celebrate the 118th birthday of his daughter, Mavis, Selena Gomez. However, an unforeseen complication unfolds when an ordinary human unwittingly crashes the party and falls in love with Mavis. Number 45. The Haunted Mansion. Workaholic real estate agent Jim Evers, Eddie Murphy, is accused by his wife, Sarah Marsha Thomason, of neglecting his son, Mark John Jeffries, and daughter, Ari Davis, so he takes the family on a vacation. Along the way, the family stops off at a sinister mansion that Jim has been asked to sell, only to discover it's haunted by Master Gracie, Nathaniel Parker, his stern butler, Ramsley, Terrence Stamp, and two other servants who need some help breaking a curse. Number 44. Scary movie defying the very notion of good taste, Scary Movie Out parodies the pop culture parodies with a no-holds-barred assault on the most popular images and talked about moments from recent films, television and commercials. The film boldly fires barbs at the classic scenes from Scream, The Sixth Sense, The Matrix, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and The Blair Witch Project, then goes on to mock a whole myriad of teen movie cliches, no matter the genre. Number 43. Monster House. No adults believe three youths, Mitchell Musso, Spencer Locke, Sam Lerner, assertion that a neighboring residence is a living creature that means them harm. With Halloween approaching, the trio must find a way to destroy the structure before innocent trick-or-treaters meet ghastly ends. Number 42. Corpse Bride. Victor, Johnny Depp, and Victoria's, Emily Watson, families have arranged their marriage. Though they like each other, Victor is nervous about the ceremony. While he's in a forest practicing his lines for the wedding, a tree branch becomes a hand that drags him to the land of the dead. It belongs to Emily, who was murdered after eloping with her love and wants to marry Victor. Victor must get back above ground before Victoria marries the villainous Barkus-bitten Richard E. Grant. Number 41. Night of the Living Dead 1990. For reasons unknown, the recently deceased are rising from the grave as flesh-hungry zombies. Fleeing from the undead horde, a small group of survivors, including Barbara, Patricia Tallman, Ben, Tony Todd, and Harry, Tom Tolles, sequester themselves in a remote farmhouse. With the zombies outside the house multiplying, tensions flare as the group argues over the best way to escape their increasingly dire situation before they are overrun completely. Number 40. Ginger Snaps. The story of two outcast sisters, Ginger, Catherine Isabel, and Bridget, Emily Perkins, in the mindless suburban town of Bailey Downs. On the night of Ginger's first period, she is savagely attacked by a wild creature. Ginger's wounds miraculously heal, but something is not quite right. Now Bridget must save her sister and save herself. Number 39. Sleepy Hollow. Set in 1799, Sleepy Hollow is based on Washington Irving's classic tale, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Faithful to the dreamy custom-bound world that Irving paints in his story, the film mixes horror, fantasy and romance and features an extraordinary cast of characters that dabble in the supernatural. Number 38. Little Shop of Horrors. Meek flower shop assistant Seymour, Rick Moranis, pines for co-worker Audrey Ellen Green. During a total eclipse, he discovers an unusual plant he names Audrey 2, which feeds only on human flesh and blood. The growing plant attracts a great deal of business for the previously struggling store. After Seymour feeds Audrey's boyfriend, Orrin, Steve Martin, to the plant after Orrin's accidental death, he must come up with more bodies for the increasingly bloodthirsty plant. Number 37. Edward Scissorhands. A scientist, Vincent Price, builds an animated human being, the gentle Edward, Johnny Depp. The scientist dies before he can finish assembling Edward, though, leaving the young man with a freakish appearance accentuated by the scissor blades he has instead of hands. Loving suburban saleswoman Peg, Diane Wayest, discovers Edward and takes him home, where he falls for Peg's teen daughter, Winona Ryder. However, despite his kindness and artistic talent, Edward's hands make him an outcast. Number 36. The Rocky Horror Picture Show. In this cult classic, sweethearts Brad Barry Bostwick and Janet Susan Sarandon, stuck with a flat tire during a storm, discover the eerie mansion of Dr. Frank N. Furter, Tim Curry, a transvestite scientist. As their innocence is lost, Brad and Janet meet a house full of wild characters, including a rocking biker, Meat Loaf, and a creepy butler, Richard O'Brien. Through elaborate dances and rock songs, Frank N. Furter unveils his latest creation, a muscular man named Rocky. Number 35. Young Frankenstein. Respected medical lecturer Dr. Frederick Frankenstein, Gene Wilder, learns that he has inherited his infamous grandfather's estate in Transylvania. Arriving at the castle, Dr. Frankenstein soon begins to recreate his grandfather's experiments with the help of servants Igor, Marty Feldman, Inga, Terry Garr, and the fearsome Frau Blucher, Cloris Leachman. After he creates his own monster, Peter Boyle, new complications ensue with the arrival of the doctor's fiancée, Elizabeth Madeline Kahn. Number 34. Coraline. While exploring her new home, a girl named Coraline, Dakota Fanning, discovers a secret door, behind which lies an alternate world that closely mirrors her own but, in many ways, is better. She rejoices in her discovery, until other mother, Terry Hatcher, and the rest of her parallel family try to keep her there forever. Coraline must use all her resources and bravery to make it back to her own family and life. Number 33. Paranormal Activity. Soon after moving into a suburban tract home, Katie Featherston, and Micah Sloat become increasingly disturbed by what appears to be a supernatural presence. Hoping to capture evidence of it on film, they set up video cameras in the house but are not prepared for the terrifying events that follow. Number 32. The Shining. Jack Torrance, Jack Nicholson, becomes winter caretaker at the isolated Overlook Hotel in Colorado, hoping to cure his writer's block. He settles in along with his wife, Wendy Shelley Duvall, and his son, Danny Lloyd, who is plagued by psychic premonitions. As Jack's writing goes nowhere and Danny's visions become more disturbing, Jack discovers the hotel's dark secrets and begins to unravel into a homicidal maniac hell-bent on terrorizing his family. Number 31. Clue. Based on the popular board game, this comedy begins at a dinner party hosted by Mr. Body, Lee Ving, where he admits to blackmailing his visitors. These guests, who have been given aliases, are Mrs. Peacock Eileen Brennan, Miss Scarlet Leslie Ann Warren, Mr. Green Michael McKean, Professor Plum Christopher Lloyd, Mrs. White Madeline Kahn, and Colonel Mustard Martin Mull. When Body turns up murdered, all are suspects, and together they try to figure out who is the killer. Number 30. Beetlejuice. After Barbara, Gina Davis, and Adam Maitland, Alec Baldwin, die in a car accident, they find themselves stuck haunting their country residence, unable to leave the house. When the unbearable Dietzes, Catherine O'Hara, Jeffrey Jones, and teen daughter Lydia, Winona Ryder, buy the home, the Maitlands attempt to scare them away without success. Their efforts attract Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton, a rambunctious spirit whose help quickly becomes dangerous for the Maitlands and innocent Lydia. Number 29. Carrie. In this chilling adaptation of Stephen King's horror novel, withdrawn and sensitive teen Carrie White, Sissy Spacek, faces taunting from classmates at school and abuse from her fanatically pious mother, Piper Laurie, at home. When strange occurrences start happening around Carrie, she begins to suspect that she has supernatural powers. Invited to the prom by the empathetic Tommy Ross, William Catt, Carrie tries to let her guard down, but things eventually take a dark and violent turn. Number 28. Bram Stoker's Dracula. Count Dracula, a 15th-century prince, is condemned to live off the blood of the living for eternity. Young lawyer Jonathan Harker is sent to Dracula's castle to finalize a land deal, but when the Count sees a photo of Harker's fiancée, Mina, the spitting image of his dead wife, he imprisons him and sets off for London to track her down. Number 27. The Sixth Sense. Young Cole Sear, Haley Joel Osment, is haunted by a dark secret. He is visited by ghosts. Cole is frightened by visitations from those with unresolved problems who appear from the shadows. He is too afraid to tell anyone about his anguish, except child psychologist Dr. Malcolm Crowe, Bruce Willis. As Dr. Crowe tries to uncover the truth about Cole's supernatural abilities, the consequences for client and therapist are a jolt that awakens them both to something unexplainable. Number 26. The Silence of the Lambs. Jodie Foster stars as Clarice Starling, a top student at the FBI's training academy. Jack Crawford, Scott Glenn, wants Clarice to interview Dr. Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins, a brilliant psychiatrist who is also a violent psychopath, serving life behind bars for various acts of murder and cannibalism. Crawford believes that Lecter may have insight into a case and that Starling, as an attractive young woman, may be just the bait to draw him out. Number 25. A Nightmare on Elm Street. In Wes Craven's classic slasher film, several Midwestern teenagers fall prey to Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, a disfigured midnight mangler who preys on the teenagers in their dreams, which, in turn, kills them in reality. After investigating the phenomenon, Nancy, Heather Langenkamp, begins to suspect that a dark secret kept by her and her friend's parents may be the key to unraveling the mystery, but can Nancy and her boyfriend Glenn, Johnny Depp, solve the puzzle before it's too late? Number 24. The Ring. A young woman, Matilda Lutz, becomes worried about her boyfriend, Alex Rowe, when he explores a dark subculture surrounding a mysterious videotape said to kill the watcher 7 days after he has viewed it. She sacrifices herself to save her boyfriend and in doing so makes a horrifying discovery: there is a movie within the movie that no one has ever seen before. Number 23. The Amityville Horror. When George Lutz, Ryan Reynolds, and his wife, Kathy, Melissa George, find a beautiful new house in the small town of Amityville, NY, they think the place is too good to be true. After they move in with their kids, they find out the cheap price tag is thanks to the house's sordid history. The former tenant murdered his family after supposedly being possessed by the devil. Believing the home is haunted, the couple find a priest, Philip Baker Hall, to help them rid the place of evil spirits. Number 22. Friday the 13th. Crystal Lake's history of murder doesn't deter counselors from setting up a summer camp in the woodsy area. Superstitious locals warn against it, but the fresh-faced young people, Jack, Kevin Bacon, Alice, Adrian King, Bill, Harry Crosby, Marcy, Janine Taylor, and Ned, Mark Nelson, pay little heed to the old-timers. Then they find themselves stalked by a brutal killer. As they're slashed, shot and stabbed, the counselors struggle to stay alive against a merciless opponent. Number 21. The Visit. A single mother sends her 2 young children to visit their grandparents on a remote Pennsylvania farm for a week-long trip, but the children discover that the elderly couple is involved in deeply disturbing activity, and the youngsters' chances of getting back home look less and less likely with every minute that passes. Number 20. The Blair Witch Project. Found video footage tells the tale of 3 film students, Heather Donahue, Joshua Leonard, Michael C. Williams, who've traveled to a small town to collect documentary footage about the Blair Witch, a legendary local murderer. Over the course of several days, the students interview townspeople and gather clues to support the tale's veracity. But the project takes a frightening turn when the students lose their way in the woods and begin hearing horrific noises. Number 19. Ready or Not. Grace couldn't be happier after she marries the man of her dreams at his family's luxurious estate. There's just one catch: she must now hide from midnight until dawn while her new in-laws hunt her down with guns, crossbows and other weapons. As Grace desperately tries to survive the night, she soon finds a way to turn the tables on her not-so-lovable relatives. Number 18. Jennifer's Body. When a demon takes possession of her, high school hottie Jennifer Megan Fox turns a hungry eye on guys who never stood a chance with her before. While evil Jennifer satisfies her appetite for human flesh with the school's male population, her nerdy friend, needy Amanda Seyfried, learns what's happening and vows to put an end to the carnage. Number 17. Halloween Town. Marnie and her kids get a big shock when they follow Grandma home to Halloween Town, and find out they come from a family of witches. The town is the only place where supernatural beings can lead a "normal" life, but trouble is looming, and on her 13th birthday Marnie not only finds she is a witch, but that she and her family are involved in a fight against the evil that is threatening to take over the world. Number 16. The Witches. While staying at a hotel in England with his grandmother, Helga Maya Zetterling, young Luke Yarsen Fisher inadvertently spies on a convention of witches. The Grand High Witch, Angelica Houston, reveals a plan to turn all children into mice through a magical formula. When they find that Luke has overheard, the witches test the formula on him. Now, with the help of Helga and the hotel manager, Mr. Stringer, Rowan Atkinson, Luke the Mouse must fight back against the witches. Number 15. The Lost Boys. Teenage brothers Michael, Jason Patrick, and Sam, Corey Haim, move with their mother, Diane Wayest, to a small town in Northern California. While the younger Sam meets a pair of kindred spirits in geeky comic book nerds Edward Corey Feldman and Alan Jameson Newlander, the angst-ridden Michael soon falls for star Jamie Gertz, who turns out to be enthralled to David Kiefer Sutherland, leader of a local gang of vampires. Sam and his new friends must save Michael and Star from the undead. Number 14. Pet Cemetery. Dr. Louis Creed Dale Midkiff moves his family to Maine, where he meets a friendly local named Judd Crandall, Fred Gwynn. After the Creed's cat is accidentally killed, Crandall advises Louis to bury it in the ground near the old pet cemetery. The cat returns to life, its personality changed for the worse. When Louis' son, Gage Miko Hughes, dies tragically, Louis decides to bury the boy's body in the same ground despite the warnings of Crandall and Louis' visions of a deceased patient. Number 13. It. 7 young outcasts in Derry, Maine, are about to face their worst nightmare, an ancient, shape-shifting evil that emerges from the sewer every 27 years to prey on the town's children. Banding together over the course of one horrifying summer, the friends must overcome their own personal fears to battle the murderous, bloodthirsty clown known as Pennywise. Number 12. The Addams Family Values. The members of the Odd Addams family are up to more macabre antics in this sequel. This time around, Gomez Addams, Raul Julia, and his wife, Morticia Angelica Houston, are celebrating the arrival of a baby boy. But siblings Wednesday, Christina Ritchie, and Pugsley, Jimmy Workman, are none too happy about the new addition, and try their best to eliminate the infant. When nanny Debbie Jelinski, Joan Cusack, appears to keep the kids in line, her presence leads to an unexpected treacherous twist. Number 11. What We Do in the Shadows. Vampire housemates Jermaine Clement, Taika Waititi, Jonathan Brew try to cope with the complexities of modern life and show a newly turned hipster, Corey Gonzalez Macua, some of the perks of being undead. Number 10. Practical Magic. Sally, Sandra Bullock, and Gillian Owens, Nicole Kidman, born into a magical family, have mostly avoided witchcraft themselves. But when Jillian's vicious boyfriend, Jimmy Angelov Goran Vishnich, dies unexpectedly, the Owens sisters give themselves a crash course in hard magic. With policeman Gary Hallett Aidan Quinn growing suspicious, the girls struggle to resurrect Angelov, and unwittingly inject his corpse with an evil spirit that threatens to end their family line. Number 9. Death becomes her. When a novelist loses her man to a movie star and former friend, she winds up in a psychiatric hospital. Years later, she returns home to confront the now-married couple, looking radiant. Her ex-husband's new wife wants to know her secret, and discovers that she has been taking a mysterious drug which grants eternal life to the person who drinks it. The actress follows suit, but discovers that immortality has a price. Number 8. The Craft. After transferring to a Los Angeles high school, Sarah Robin Tunney finds that her telekinetic gift appeals to a group of 3 wannabe witches, who happen to be seeking a 4th member for their rituals. Bonnie, Neve Campbell, Rochelle, Rachel True, and Nancy, Firuza Balk, like Sarah herself, all have troubled backgrounds, which combined with their nascent powers lead to dangerous consequences. When a minor spell causes a fellow student to lose her hair, the girls grow power mad. Number 7. The Witches of Eastwick. 3 small-town friends, Alexandra, Cher, Jane, Susan Sarandon, and Suki, Michelle Pfeiffer, each having lost the man in their lives, are feeling unfulfilled, until a furtive stranger, Daryl Van Horn, Jack Nicholson, arrives and begins courting each of them in turn. Eventually, Daryl tells them that they are witches. But as the 3 friends spend more time at his mansion, enjoying themselves and learning about their powers, they begin to worry about Daryl's ultimate intentions. Number 6. The Exorcist. One of the most profitable horror movies ever made, this tale of an exorcism is based loosely on actual events. When young Regan, Linda Blair, starts acting odd, levitating, speaking in tongues, her worried mother, Ellen Burstyn, seeks medical help, only to hit a dead end. A local priest, Jason Miller, however, thinks the girl may be seized by the devil. The priest makes a request to perform an exorcism, and the church sends in an expert, Max von Sydow, to help with the difficult job. Number 5. Scream. Wes Craven reinvented and revitalized the slasher horror genre with this modern horror classic, which manages to be funny, clever and scary, as a fright-masked knife maniac stalks high school students in middle-class suburbia. Craven is happy to provide both tension and self-parody as the body count mounts, but the victims aren't always the ones you'd expect. Number 4. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Not all Halloween movies have to be scary. This 1996 movie will put you in the Halloween spirit, while also keeping you at ease. Join Charlie Brown and the rest of the Peanuts gang as they wait for the Great Pumpkin, and have a party. The Peanuts gang celebrates Halloween while Linus waits for the Great Pumpkin. The Peanuts gang celebrates Halloween, with Linus hoping that, finally, he will be visited by the Great Pumpkin, while Charlie Brown is invited to a Halloween party. Number 3. The Nightmare Before Christmas. The film follows the misadventures of Jack Skellington, Halloweentown's beloved Pumpkin King, who has become bored with the same annual routine of frightening people in the real world. When Jack accidentally stumbles on Christmastown, all bright colors and warm spirits, he gets a new lease on life. He plots to bring Christmas under his control by kidnapping Santa Claus and taking over the role. But Jack soon discovers even the best laid plans of mice and skeleton men can go seriously awry. Number 2. Hocus Pocus. After moving to Salem, Mass., teenager Max Dennison Omri Katz explores an abandoned house with his sister Danny, Thora Birch, and their new friend, Allison, Vanessa Shaw. After dismissing a story Allison tells as superstitious, Max accidentally frees a coven of evil witches, Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy, who used to live in the house. Now, with the help of a magical cat, the kids must steal the witch's book of spells to stop them from becoming immortal. Number 1. Halloween. On a cold Halloween night in 1963, 6-year-old Michael Myers brutally murdered his 17-year-old sister, Judith. He was sentenced and locked away for 15 years. But on October 30, 1978, while being transferred for a court date, a 21-year-old Michael Myers steals a car and escapes Smith's Grove. He returns to his quiet hometown of Haddonfield, Illinois, where he looks for his next victims.